I have fixed the intro video. It just says NFL show. If you are someone who watches our show, let me know because I'm not sold on it, but it doesn't say week 5. It is, in fact, NFL week 8 yelling and screaming. Here with my buddy Sean. We're going to take you some NFL. Sean, what'd you think of this last week, man?
Honestly, not a bad week for football. Some pretty fun games. A lot of scoring. Congratulations to Rick on 33 pool for hitting on that bad boy this week. There were a lot of teams that scored 34. If you didn't see, I don't know if you saw that. A lot of teams scored 34. Good scoring this week.
32, 31. I was sweating.
Yeah. I was hoping that you would keep sweating. I was trying to get some of that pool too. But yeah, it was a good week. Honestly, good week all around. I really, really enjoyed it.
So, Sean, I have heard from a couple different resources that we need more yelling and screaming. So, before we get into this week's games, I have an option for you. I have a choice for you.
All right.
Would you like to have an argument or hear me eat crow?
Oh, I'm gonna have to go with the latter on that.
I have been probably the biggest Lamar Jackson hater. I have said things like fake MVP, poor man's Bo Nix, idiot, couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a stick. 17 for 22 for 281 and 5 touchdowns is efficient and exceptional to the point where I might no longer be able to disparage this man. No longer will I say ugliest quarterback since Peyton Manning.
You want to know what?
No longer will I say run first. Can't find a wide open tight end in the middle of an open field. I would like to apologize to Lamar Jackson for some of the things I've said over the years. His performance against the Buccaneers is one of the most complete and convincing MVP-worthy performances of any quarterback in the last 20 years of football. Let's forget for a second that the Bucs shut Derrick Henry down early in this game. Lamar created all of this on his own with play action and foot movement and pinpoint accuracy. I am sorry, Lamar Jackson. I can't promise that in a fit of rage next week, I won't say something heinous about your football ability. But goddamn, what a game. Lamar Jackson is an incredible quarterback, and he should be goddamn proud.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that, Rick. And you know what? 2 things stick out to me. One of them was Lamar Jackson being the lead blocker for Derrick Henry on a long run down the field, where he actually in the post game admitted that he didn't even realize that Derrick Henry wasn't still in front of him. Otherwise, or that Derrick Henry was behind him. Otherwise, he would have kept blocking that guy because he wanted to get him into the end zone. Tell me that your quarterback is a leader when he's lead blocking for your 260-pound running back, largest running back in the league, and he's like, "Nah, I got you, bro." That's a leader. That, and the second thing to me is there are only 3 quarterbacks in the NFL right now with less than 3 interceptions: Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. 2 of those 3 people constantly get considered to be the top tier quarterback in the NFL. The guys who any year should be the guy that can lead a team to a Super Bowl. So if you're in Baltimore, you've got Lamar Jackson behind the helm. Any year you feel the same confidence that those other teams feel about your team being able to potentially make it to a Super Bowl. You guys are sometimes one play away, a couple of good drives away from being that team. So kudos to y'all. That was an ass one.
I will not say the other things I was going to say about the Ravens as a team because it undercuts my point. I I do want to talk to you very briefly about Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
And the only reason I'm doing this now is because I'm watching live and I see an ineffective Patrick Mahomes driving yet another floundering, failing Chiefs drive down the field. But then, oh, wait, he remembers no one's going to hit Patrick Mahomes, and he does a little fake step back move down the sideline and gains 41 yards rushing that really turned that Chiefs game. And I say all that tongue in cheek, but really what I wanted to ask you, Sean, is do you think there's space in today's NFL to go back to hitting the goddamn quarterback?
Yes, I do, and that's considering the entire travesty that's happened with Tua, and a lot of the injuries that we've seen this year, especially with quarterbacks. I mean, right now, how many quarterbacks in the NFL are backups or have had their backups play significant time? We had Jordan Love go out. We've got Deshaun Watson who's out right now. We've got we had Richardson go out. Like we've had a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL have to go out this season. With that being said, I think that some of the rules right now that they have on this QB safety are really impugning some of the game. I think it really is. Like, don't get me wrong, Patrick Mahomes did exactly what I would expect him to do, and he also took a hit in that game too, or he didn't hit. He hit somebody in that game. So really, to me, that's a competitor right there. But I will say this: there's a consciousness that as a defensive player you're used to having, and when every year the rules change, so that you have to then change the way that you hit, the way that you make contact with players. I think that while it is about playing safe, ultimately there's and gets and devalues defense in a very offense heavy league anyway.
I mean, I want to get to Tua here before we jump in the games too, if that's all right. But let me give you Mahomes' stat line. You tell me if the Chiefs win. 16 for 27 for 154 and 2 picks. I mean, that
should the Chiefs have won?
I give Lamar Jackson all kinds of shit. Patrick Mahomes can't sniff the dude's jockstrap. Patrick Mahomes, I saw an article, and I if I can find it later, I'll put it in the comments here to give credit to the author. But it said that the Chiefs have won by making other quarterbacks look like Patrick Mahomes. And I had to think about that for a minute. Patrick Mahomes has been god awful. Patrick Mahomes has not been the Patrick Mahomes we've become accustomed to. Patrick Mahomes is barely a serviceable NFL quarterback this year. But Patrick Mahomes and his Chiefs are 6-0. And at the end of the day, the article compared him to Troy Aikman, who also had very pedestrian stats, but because the goal was not to throw for 5,000 yards and be the MVP, the goal is to win the goddamn football game and get a championship. So I do not like Patrick Mahomes, but I think this evolution of his game is not only good for the NFL because it takes him down a peg, but it's also good for the Chiefs because this team is built the right way. This team clearly can win without him. Now, 5 carries for 39 yards and a touchdown helps, right? But Kareem Hunt, who is barely an NFL running back, had a hell of a game and scored 2 touchdowns. I mean, this Chiefs team.
The Chiefs team is built, you're absolutely correct, to win. They have a phenomenal defense anchored by Chandler Jones. And I think that realistically, like, this team can make it to another Super Bowl. Whether they win that Super Bowl is entirely different story because Detroit right now looks disgusting. But I will say that their defense is great. I will say this though. Patrick Mahomes has not been the Patrick Mahomes that we've seen in the past few years. He's definitely not 5,000 yard passing, MVP caliber Patrick Mahomes. But this game was definitely his worst game. If you look back, even on No, I take that back. He was actually pretty bad in his game against Cincinnati too. But he's thrown for a couple of touchdowns in a few of the other games, and 300 yards, whatever the case is. So been serviceable, manageable, nothing crazy. Hasn't had to be a superstar. I think realistically, we're looking at a slightly different story about who's the best team in the AFC. Um, if Cincinnati gets that win in week one. I think we're saying, right. I think realistically we're saying that Baltimore's the best team in the NFL, even with two losses, in a loss they shouldn't have had to the Raiders. But I don't know what happened in that game, but I think we're looking at a little bit different. Um, I think we have a slightly different conversation about who's number one. Realistically, for me, um, you can't take an undefeated team off the table. Sorry, you can't say that there is anybody better than them if they haven't lost the game. I don't care. Right?
Well, and
especially
they're, right? They're the only undefeated team at this point.
They're the only undefeated team after this. So you can't say that to me. I personally think that Patrick Mahomes actually can play better. They have had some issues with injury, and they were playing against, in my opinion, still one of the better defenses in the NFL in San Francisco, even though they have not performed as well as their record says. Um, they've definitely not been the San Francisco that we saw last year, but they're still, in my opinion, one of the better defenses. The offense is their problem right now, and with IU going out for the rest of the season, I mean, they already had issues with receivers and with their back with Christian McCaffrey. I want to say with receivers because their backfield looks good. Mason's still doing his thing back there. So the team is definitely built to be a good run offense, but without the receivers, they don't have that dynamic where the run offense is working, but so you can build off that and get the pass going. Pass is just not there. I mean, to be realistic, like we're not getting 350-yard games from uh from uh from Purdy. Like it's not what it was last year.
Looks bad. All right. Well, we'll get into that a little bit more. Let's jump into the schedule here. Vikings Rams Thursday night football. If you're in the Phoenix Valley area, squad at the Guad Thursday night, Guadalupe on Main and Mesa. All the 602 people will be out. We'll be watching this game. I'm pretty excited for this one. This is a huge game for the Vikings.
The Vikings definitely need this bounce back game. Tough loss, to pull them out of that number one spot in the, I would say in the NFC. But I mean, this game right here should be a good bounce back game for them. And I think the Rams have a chance to kind of exploit and show what the Vikings really are if they can actually pull it off. But I expect the Vikings to really come out here and be ready to right the ship again.
We've talked about the Rams a few times, like in the context of the NFC West. It's a weird division. Weird stuff happens. I mean, this Rams team is not far from contender status. I think you kind of catch a reeling Vikings team on a short week. If you can manage to win this game somehow, that's a huge win. That's a huge confidence boost. You go into the rest of your schedule having beaten one of the juggernauts in the West, and you get one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL back. I mean, I think the Rams are right there. Having said that, I mean, this is the Vikings game to lose, and they really need this win. Losing the way they did against the Lions has got to sit badly with the fan base. No one's on the hot seat, nothing like that. This is still a playoff team, but you might have just lost the division. And you did it in a way where the Lions didn't beat the Vikings. The Vikings lost to the Lions. And so I think on a Thursday night football game here, it's in the dome. There's no weather, time. They're always like, oh, East Coast team going. The Vikings aren't an East Coast team. I think this is as close to a true game as you can get for them. It's home environment, meaning it's in a dome. The Rams fans will be there, but that stadium's so damn big, it doesn't actually get that loud in there. I like the Vikings to win here. I like the Vikings to win big and prove a point. Put themselves right back in the race for the top of the NFC.
I think it's going to be a little bit tighter game, but I still like the Vikings.
One thing I didn't do is populate the lines. I'll pull up lines as we're talking here. Why don't you give me a little bit on Ravens Browns?
I just have a few comments on this game, and particularly things that happened this past week. You guys just heard us go off and give a hell of a lot of praise to Baltimore, a hell of a lot of praise to Lamar Jackson. Derrick Henry is having a career year, and realistically, I think that it's his rushing title to lose. Saquon is having a great year as well, but Derrick, if Baltimore was already a phenomenal rush offense, and Justice Hill is no slouch either. He ends up being your receiving back. Their offense is so dynamic with Lamar Jackson back there at the helm. I think that there's no way in hell that the Browns can do anything, especially after losing Deshaun Watson, who I did not believe was anything that was worth the money that they paid him. But I will say this: one of the classiest statements was made by Jameis Winston this past week about what happened in that stadium. The Browns fans booing Deshaun Watson, classic. From a city that has been terrible for football to the point where you guys literally had you had Bud Light coolers around your stadium with chains on them so that you can get a game. If you win a game and you win a game and you actually get free beer, for you to do that to somebody that was paid in order to help you guys get to that next level, I get that you don't like the allegations against him. I don't like the allegations either. I don't think that he's a great guy personally, but for you to boo somebody who snapped their leg, who put their heart, sweat, and tears, their blood, sweat, and tears on the field for a job, yes, but to represent that city, that just doesn't sit well with me. So shame on you on that one, Cleveland. And classy statement by James.
And so we have a saying in Q&W in fantasy football where like you never cheer for injuries.
Yeah.
Right. You can want it, you can hope for it, you can hope your dirty little soul out for an injury, but we never wish for it, we never talk about it. I've been a huge critic of Watson. You never want to see an injury. The emotion in his face shows you that he cares, right? And it's a job, right? He's getting paid out the ass to do it, but like he's there because he wants to be. My biggest issue with the whole thing is why in the ever living fuck did they finally make Winston the emergency third quarterback and then this guy gets hurt? Winston's one of my favorite players of all time. He can be an NFL quarterback, and we had to watch DTR scamper all over the field and suck while Winston still held the goddamn clipboard. That drove me crazy. Why did Watson wait to get hurt to the worst possible moment? Now, having said that, Winston is not the future of this team. DTR could be, and I understand why you make the move in that context, but this Browns team is really bad. Nick Chubb cannot save this Browns team. The Ravens are 10.5-point favorites in this game on the road. And seeing what I just saw Monday night, I don't know if it's enough.
Divisional game.
But yeah, but like, does it matter?
It does in the context of scheme. That's really the reason why it matters. I'm not going to say anything about the fact that I believe that the Ravens should win this game by 40. But realistically, divisional games when it comes to the energy that happens on a team that you play on a regular basis, it's just different. It's different. That being said, we just watched the Eagles destroy the Giants, so I really can't say that. And a lot of times divisional games are blowouts, and it's usually because one team is just severely overpowering the other. But also, you typically get in a divisional game, it's either one or two things. It's either going to be it's a huge blowout or it's going to be a tight game. And considering Baltimore is going to be playing against a quarterback that they haven't really seen for, weirdly enough, sometimes those games end up being closer than you would expect. Baltimore could probably even have a hangover from the last game, just because they're not expecting anything to come out of this game. So you never really know what surprises can come out of Cleveland. So I'm not going to count Cleveland out as like if they're I'm not going to put them minus plus 14 or anything like that. But I think Cleveland could make this game a little more interesting by just doing things that the Ravens aren't expecting.
So I haven't seen. I assume DTR is the quarterback.
That's true.
And if DTR is the quarterback, I'm putting 9 guys in the box, going 2 high safeties, and I'm going to ask him to beat me. They essentially have Brownie the Elf at wide receiver. I mean, this team's bad.
I forgot that Cooper's gone.
He's gone, dude. This team is bad. Like your best offensive player is either Nick Chubb, who might not be all the way back, or Njoku. Like this team is.
Judy should be good enough to be. He should be good enough. He was supposed to be good enough for the Broncos.
We'll get to the Broncos. Titans Lions. I had one note on this game, and that is bloodbath. Who starts this game at quarterback for the Titans?
Does Levis not have the job anymore?
He didn't finish the game. He got benched.
That's true. Shit.
So honestly, I haven't seen anything. It's Tuesday night. I haven't seen anything. To be honest with you, I haven't Googled Titans quarterback either. So
no one knows realistically, but I mean, Mason Rudolph played all of last game. So it looks like it might be Mason's team. Really, you can't switch back and forth. You can't switch back and forth unless there was a reason. If there was an injury we don't know about or something like that, which should have been declared. You've already decided to bench him. Give Mason Rudolph a shot. Let him do his thing.
Would you rather have a year's supply of mayonnaise or a night out on the town with Mason Rudolph?
Ooh. You know what? I think the night on the town with Mason Rudolph, because I feel like maybe Nashville? Maybe?
When Levis is healthy, he's the quarterback. That's the latest out of Nashville.
Well, there you go.
As soon as Levis is healthy, he's back in.
Yeah, I feel like they were going to stick with him. It just seemed like it's his season. Mason Rudolph isn't the guy. If they have a bad season with them, they look back. They reevaluate. But I think they're giving him the reins. Mayo.
Yeah, I'm taking the mayonnaise. Mason Rudolph seems like a cool dude, but a year's supply of mayonnaise, that goes a long way in Nashville.
The problem is with a year's supply of mayonnaise is that I would eat it way faster than I would start putting mayonnaise in everything, maybe even my coffee, and I don't even drink coffee. That's the problem.
That's too much, Sean. That's too much.
Mayonnaise in your ice cream. Look, I watched a video of Josh and Mama on Instagram, and she puts a lot more mayonnaise in things than I realized it should have gone in. So I will say this to get back to this game. Honestly, my second place QB in the NFL right now, after Lamar Jackson, is Jared Goff. And he
don't have a problem with that.
The difference, and the thing about, I think if there's any two teams that are probably the most evenly matched in the NFL as the top two teams in the NFC and AFC, I'm going to go with Baltimore and Detroit. If that's the Super Bowl this year, then I'm going to tune in and watch it. But yeah, I think their rush offense is incredible. They got
Goff is the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. Full stop.
Yes, 100%.
So to watch him do what he does on a football field is incredible. The persistence and excellence in his route progressions. He understands the offense. He understands the game. It's an absolute travesty that he doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. He'll get one. I think he'll get one. But he should have had one with that Rams team.
And Stafford just swooped in, picked up where he left off, and got the ring. Honestly, if I'm Matthew Stafford, I love it. He did everything he did.
Jared Goff, 0 pizza sponsorships. 0. Matthew Stafford got the company that's like essentially a knockoff Detroit-style pizza company.
Don't worry.
That's dirty.
That's going to change things.
All right. Colts, Texans. this game somehow matters. I'm ready to admit defeat on my bet for exact order of AFC South finish. The Jaguars are god awful. We'll talk about them in a minute. This is for first place in the division. Richardson is back. The Texans are still exactly who they have been. I feel like they could win or lose any game on their schedule, and I wouldn't be surprised. So, Sean, for this week, Houston -6 at home. Colts, in theory, back to full strength. Might have JTT back. Who wins this game?
I'm taking the Colts in this. I'm taking the Texans in this game. I'm thinking that the Colts, even if they're quote unquote back to full strength, there's no rhythm. There's no sync right now. Right? You every week you're trying to figure out who's going to be the quarterback, and you can't really build a rhythm in the system like that. And same thing with the running back. I mean, like I had, I had both Richardson and Jonathan Taylor as my offensive weapons for my fantasy football team. And I still had to try to figure out what to do every other week because I don't know if he's going to start, if he's going to come out midway through the game, who's going to be quarterback, who's going to be running back. There's just too much chaos going on for me in that offense for me to have faith that they could pull out a win, and more importantly, pull out the division. Texans, tough loss. Realistically, tough loss because they did what they needed to do on offense to get the lead late in the game, and they just couldn't close it out. Tough loss. I think that this is kind of it's a divisional game. It's a revenge game against after last week. Texas want to show that they are the team to beat in that division. So I'm going to take the Texans in this game, especially at home.
I'm going to transfer all of my Lamar hate
to CJ Stroud.
to CJ Stroud. I'm not convinced. So the Packers Texans game for me was a lot about like, who are these quarterbacks? And I don't like Jordan Love either, but when it came down to it, they drove down the field, they scored, they won. Stroud did not. I know that's a super oversimplification of how that game played out. But all of these guys can't be the guy, right? So if you're asking me to pick one, it was Love. And I feel like every time Stroud has had that opportunity to be the one, that's a game he's lost. Eventually that comes due, right? Like eventually you're Matt Ryan. And that's fine. You're a great quarterback. You're probably a Hall of Famer, but you're not a winner. So like eventually it comes due, and I understand it's super early in his career, but it feels like to me every single time that he has an opportunity to start building that legacy, he doesn't. He beats the Colts. They're going to win this game, right? He beats the Titans, right? He beats all the shitty teams that you should. He wins all the division games you should. But you have like one of these all-time duels against like another quarterback of your age, right? Like Jordan Love is going to be like Rodgers was, right? Like it's the same crap. I feel like Stroud doesn't win those games. And you could point to personnel, and you wouldn't be wrong. Texas defense played good in this one. They still really don't have any wide receivers, which is crazy because they probably had 3 guys on this team who preseason we would have said were top 50 wide receivers. They just haven't really done it. But like to me, eventually it's got to come due. So I like the Texans to win this game, but like Stroud needs like 300 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Like this, you have to at some point prove that you're the guy.
If I may, Rick, I'm going to go ahead and completely disagree with you on that. And here's my reason why. This game, terrible for CJ Stroud. So if we're just judging him based off of this game against Green Bay, everything that you say makes a lot of sense. Hell, if you even want to judge him against the other teams in the same division because they're playing that division this year, if you're going to judge him against Minnesota, I get it. That was also their only other loss of the season, by the way. They only lost 2 games. They beat Buffalo. They beat Indy already, and they beat Chicago.
But you're looking at it. What are his stats in that Bears game?
in the Bears game.
Yeah.
He went 23 for 36 for 260 and a touchdown. Not bad.
That's awful.
That's 63% completion percentage and a touchdown. How was that awful?
That's Matt Ryan.
That's Matt Ryan made it to a Super Bowl. And
I said he'd probably be a Hall of Famer.
I'm not saying that I disagree with you on that. But what I'm saying is, if you're gonna talk about him not being able to step up, right now, he's not doing too bad. I mean, he had 2 games where he threw for under 200 yards, right? But one of those games he threw 3 touchdowns, and that was the New England game. He just stopped playing. So I mean, realistically, he had 1 game that was not a good performance. He had in the game against Minnesota, he had 2 picks. I'll give you that one. Other than that, he's got 2 other picks. One against New England, which probably didn't mean shit, and one against Buffalo in a game that they won. And he has no other interceptions. He's got 10 touchdowns. So if you really want to talk, like I think that your judgment against him is exactly the same thing that you said, transplanted from Lamar, because I think that you're still looking at these and going, these guys should be winners. They should be NFC or AFC championship. They should be in the Super Bowl. They should be those contenders. And I just think that he's still young in his career. He's got a lot to figure out. And he also lost his number 1 receiver, by the way, who was the number 1 receiver in the NFL at the time. When Nico Collins went down, he was the number. Say what you will, but when Nico Collins went down, he was the number 1 receiver in the NFL.
Which is crazy because Nico Collins can't run a route to save his life.
Well, CJ Stroud must have been able to hit him with the ball a lot of times, right? Because if he can't run a route, the quarterback's got to hit him. So, either Stroud is bad or Nico Collins is bad. Figure it out. They can't both be
yelling and screaming. I can't believe I have to. Am I not defending CJ Stroud? I said the guy was a Hall of Famer. He's not a winner. He's not a fucking winner.
You also just said he didn't step up.
He's Eli without the rings.
He's 5. Hey, Dan Marino, no rings. Jim Kelly, no rings.
Dan Marino's a dirtbag. You heard it here first. Dan Marino, one of the worst quarterbacks of his generation, because he had no killer instinct.
Oh my goodness! All right.
Speaking of the Packers and Jaguars, speaking of quarterbacks who suck.
Trevor Lawrence, trash.
Wow, the Jaguars are bad.
Congratulations on beating the Jaguars and winning 1 game in London.
So we agreed we weren't going to spend a whole lot of time on this game. So I guess, gun to your head, say one nice thing about the Jaguars.
They have really pretty uniforms.
They do. The throwback to the 90s uniforms. Those are the best uniforms of the year, man. Those Fred Taylor Jaguars uniforms. Feed me.
All right. I got one more thing to say. If Doug Peterson goes back to the Eagles win the Super
Bowl. Oh, yeah, totally.
That's the best thing I can say about the Jaguars.
If you give the Jaguars a real quarterback, they might win the damn Super Bowl too.
And not just a model? Beating up on the Patriots doesn't mean shit, just FYI. So everyone knows. The reason why we're not even saying a nice thing about the Jaguars is because they beat the Patriots in London.
They didn't.
London, the Jaguars are a home team in London, by the way. They scored 22 points in 1 quarter.
They beat the Patriots. They did not beat up on the Patriots. Drake May, we'll get to this in I'll wait on my Drake May thing.
Okay. They beat the shit out of the Patriots, by the way.
Packers all white jersey. Yes, no. The all white uniform.
I like the all white jersey, yeah.
Who's sharp? Packers yellow is gross. It's disgusting. I'm glad I'm reading your show notes here. Cardinals, Dolphins. Do you want to take point on this, or you want me to?
Go for it, baby. Go for it. I know you're ready to get out of that. I know you're ready to get out of that.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. Hollywood stars, NFL quarterbacks, baseball players, they are role models for our kids in America. Tua coming back from his brain literally leaking out of his ear holes to say, I'm not going to wear a Guardian cap. It's a personal choice. Tua is the worst role model for children in the history of American sports. And that's saying something, because some of these guys kill people, get shot by their spouses, drunk drive. hit a woman and her dog, doing 80 in a school zone. Tua is the single worst role model in the history of American sports. Tua, are you going to wear this special device that was designed so your brain doesn't hurt? I don't like it. It's a personal choice. Are you kidding me? And it's like he's gripping the counter at a press conference, rocking back and forth. He's like, yeah, I feel fine. I don't need to wear no Guardian cap. Are you kidding me, dude? You have almost died from concussion 6 times in your career, and you're like, I don't want to wear the fluffy hat. It makes me look stupid. Tua is a horrible influence on children and should not be allowed to sell jerseys. 0% of his jersey sales. Put it all toward kids with brain cancer or some shit. Like, good Lord. Like, dude, get over yourself. It's a personal choice. It weighs 8 ounces.
Because it's so stupid for him to say that. Like, guess what, dude? Maybe your head being a little more padded will stop you from getting your neck destroyed.
He's like, I've always been a competitor. Dude, you have died 3 times. What?
Yeah, he's a fucking moron. Sorry, but he's a moron. I don't understand it either. At the end of the day, if you want to have a long, successful NFL career, you got to avoid injury. And he's a magnet. He's a god. I don't know what's happening, but it's like his spinal cord is connected with rubber bands to his brain. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, what are you doing? Is there a fucking bullseye on the back of your neck? Like, what is, like, you are not a good example of someone. You were the best example of someone who needs the Guardian. You are the reason the Guardian cap was invented. It should be called the Tua cap.
Literally.
It's going to be, you know what happens? What's going to happen is either he's going to end his career in a very short period of time, or he's going to end up having a longer career, get hit, and then his career is going to be ended by an injury on the field. But either way, in a few years, that cap is going to be renamed the Tua cap in honor of the moron who decided not to wear
it. Dolphins by 7. Dolphins by 7.
The Cardinals? No, I'm not giving. No, fuck that. Look, the Cardinals got a good win. No,
if Tua plays, Tyreek's gonna have like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns because he's due. I got under 0.5 concussions, over 2.5 passing touchdowns. Like, Tua's gonna do it, man. Like, if he plays, and he's gonna have like a rushing touchdown. He's gonna have like a fake Guardian cap celebration. Like,
you know what? Tua might have 2 touchdown passes, but his defense suddenly forgot how to play defense. They still got to play. And I'm going to say right now that the Cardinals are going to have a fucking target on him if he actually plays. So be prepared to have another Jones brother on that line going after him. I'm telling you right now, I am not convinced that Miami wins this game. I think that this is the last game before Kyler Murray goes off the defense.
Yep. Warzone Friday. Call of Duty comes out Friday, yeah.
Call of Duty comes out Friday, so either he's really good.
Dolphins scoring so much. Let me put a shot on this. I have the Cardinals with a kick return touchdown in this game.
Oh.
Because I think they get 7 opportunities.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Lock it in.
Good.
Jets, Pats, is there anything non-awful Aaron Rodgers and Devontae that you'd like to touch on here?
Other than the fact that Drake May is going to get a chance to play some football, so that's kind of nice, just to see how the young guy is going to do in that system. 16 points off of 2 offensive touchdowns is good. So kudos to him. But yeah, the Jets are a dumpster fire, and unfortunately, Devontae Adams just became the second person to come into that organization and cause immediate chaos.
That's what he wanted, though.
It's disgusting. It's not productive. No. I am honestly like, you know what? And I think it's just Aaron Rodgers being toxic. Even when he brings another guy with him, he's also toxic.
Can I read my note?
so far?
Drake May be the future.
Oh my god.
Drake May is
That's a shot.
good. He sees the field really well. Yeah, I'll do a shot. I'll do it. I'm drinking straight whiskey, but I'll do a shot for it. That's a bad joke. But hey, Drake May's for real. Falcons, Bucks, NFC South. Bucks off obviously coming off. I won't call it a heartbreaker, but a tough loss. This is a fun one. 2.5 Buccaneers. I kind of like the Falcons at first blush, but this is a huge game.
Yeah, for me, I think the Bucks definitely need to win this game. Um, Kirk Cousins feels like is flying high right now. That man is in Atlanta, getting and hanging out at Magic City, doing his thing on Peachtree. He's really, really vibing down there, and that could bode well for the rest of that division. Because if he is able to if he's able to to keep up with some of the productivity of some of the other Falcons quarterbacks we've had in recent years, Matt Ryan, Michael Vick, some of those guys who the guys who did pretty well in Atlanta. It's a good vibe. You know, if he could keep up that type of productivity, this team is going to be a tough team to beat in that division.
Eagles Bengals in one that I know is a little close to your heart. Bengals 2.5 point favorites at home. I like the Eagles outright. I think the Eagles win this game. Your notes say it best. I'll let you go on about it, but I just think they're the better team at this point.
I think that with AJ Brown back, it's a wrap. Realistically, Saquon is the second best running back in the NFL, best running back in the NFC, and I think that he proved that with a nice statement game and a classy move. By the way, if you heard him mic'd up on the sideline,
yes, let the kids eat.
He was 10 yards away from his career high, and I believe 176 yards or so. And he said, "Nah, let them young boys eat. Let them eat. Let them out there. Let them have some fun too." That is a classy thing from a guy who got nothing but disrespected up in New York. So kudos to you. I think Philly has found another guy that just fits the mold of what Philadelphia was about. And I think getting AJ Brown back, the team's just going to be on a high. The Bengals still have not proven to me that they're at that next level. The defense just isn't quite as strong as I'd like it to be. And so, there's too much unsaid for the Bengals for me. So I'm going to see the Eagles.
Yeah, Bengals they're not there on defense. Obviously, this is a big cross conference game, but it's the Eagles. I don't think it's close.
A one-score game from the Bengals against the Browns, who are god awful, to get them to 3-4, and it's just really not. But the run game isn't there. It's just not a Bengals team that I would put any real faith in on any given day.
Saints Chargers. This might be it for the Saints. This is kind of a win or you go into rebuild. I don't know what Derek Carr's situation is injury wise, but I mean, this is a bad Chargers team. This is a Saints team that needs a lot of help. If you lose this one, it's probably time to pack it in for 2024. Both ways, honestly.
I won't take that necessarily because as much confidence as you have in the Broncos, I do not
Super Bowl.
I do not see that they're going to run away and be the number 2 team overall in this division. So the Chargers definitely have a chance. Oh, you think number 1? You think they're going to beat out the Chiefs in the division? Oh my goodness, I want to put a shot on that. I would love to put a
I ain't betting that. I Knicks have more rushing yards than Patrick Mahomes passing yards.
Knicks with more rushing yards than Patrick Mahomes passing yards
in the Broncos Chiefs games.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and take that.
We'll come back to that. Talk to me more about the Chargers.
But anyway, I will say this: depending on what Derek Carr's future is right now, not future, but what his injuries looking like. Realistically, I think that this is his team. I think that they feel confident behind him, and I think that after this year, when they're able to get a couple more weapons on offense to really round out the offense, I think that they'll definitely be confident, and I think that they'll do some things on defense to kind of bolster that. Because early on in the season, it looked like the Saints are one of those teams that were like, "Whoa, this is going to be a big surprise from them." And they kind of settled into the season as we expected. I think this is definitely a must-win game for the Chargers after a after a loss. They really need to bounce back, and I think that they have their eyes on that number 2 position in the division behind the Chiefs. Obviously, they feel like they can win it, but let's be realistic about that. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, and they're going to win the tight games, or they're going to blow you out. So realistically, them going for that number 2 position in the division, potentially get one of those wild card spots, is definitely going to bode well for them if they can get this win and then follow up with some divisional wins.
I want to see what this Saints team could be, but for me, it's kind of a boilerplate. Not interested as far as the podcast is concerned from here on out. I just they haven't shown me enough.
Right now, the line's -7, and honestly, go ahead and take it. I mean, Kyron Williams is run. No, not Kyron. Sorry. What's his name? Herbert is throwing the ball. He's doing what he needs to do, and I mean, their defense is only going to get healthier. So take it.
Dobbins.
Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah,
Bills, Seahawks. The Bills are kind of rounding into exactly what we expected the Bills to be. This is a AFC favorite. This is a powerhouse offense. The defense is always kind of there when they need them to be. We've kind of seen the lows in Josh Allen through the last couple seasons. But obviously the highs are there too, right? This is a high quality team. I think I've lost Sean. I'll continue waxing poetic about the Bills. For me, this is a game where they need to win, right? If you're going to round into form, you have to continue rounding into form. You have to win the games against. Oh, Sean's back. There we go. You have to beat the Seahawks. You have to beat the Seahawks here. I think in order for the Bills to be the Bills we want them to be, you have to win these types of games. Seahawks have been better as of late. DK might not play in this game. I think if you're down your arguably best offensive weapon, definitely your best receiving weapon, the Bills should take advantage of that. And if the Bills want to be considered in the upper echelon in the AFC, this is a game you have to win. This is an NFC playoff team. You need to win this game.
I'll say right now, I agree with you on that one. Honestly, after what the Seahawks did to the Falcons last week, they're looking to make a name for themselves and show that they're one of the better teams in the NFC. But as I said earlier, Josh Allen, the only quarterback in the NFL without an interception. Say what you will, but he's throwing the ball extremely well. So realistically, the Bills should win this game. I mean, without DK especially, he's not just an offensive weapon, but he's a team leader for them. And watching him play, his non on the ball IQ is incredible. Watching him pull defensive players out of position so that the guys behind him can do what they need to do. Watching his eyes and watching him slow play balls to make sure the defenders don't get their hands up in the right position. I mean, people don't think about those things, but those intangibles are what really, really, really make a guy just the guy for your team. It's the reason why a guy has a career for 10, 11, 12 years. It's the things that go beyond just the speed and the route running in the hand. It's the little things that really make you valuable to a team. So I think he's not just a guy on the field, but also off the field leader as well. You can see that in his presence. And I think that for the Bills definitely need to win this game to keep pace with the Chiefs and the Baltimore top of the division, at the top of the conference, and make sure that they're one of those teams that has one of those top spots. But I mean, it's not going to be an easy game. Seattle can definitely score with the best of them. So I expect this to be a little shootout.
Bears Commanders. I'd love to talk endlessly about this game, but I think this is somewhere we got to cut corners to make time here. If there's no Jaden Daniels, this loses a lot of intrigue for me. The Bears will win this game going away. I think they're the better defense regardless, but no Jaden Daniels for the Commanders really takes away a lot of their intrigue for me. I think the Bears win this game.
Wow, I agree that no Jaden Daniels takes away some of the intrigue of the game. The guy who replaced Jaden Daniels is Marcus Mariota. And funny enough, Marcus Mariota and Jane
Liquid.
Daniels' play style was pretty damn similar. They are very mobile quarterbacks. They make smart decisions with the ball. Um, you could have plugged. I feel like you could. It's a plug and play for these two. To a certain degree. Obviously, Dayton Daniels has shown he's had excellent accuracy this season and made smartest decisions that he can make on the field. Marcus Mariota came in and without a beat the shit out of the Panthers the same way as we expected Jaden Daniels to do it. So I don't think this game is as much as a lock for Chicago as we might think. Now, this is also one of those instances where Washington's going to he wants to keep pace in the NFC and make sure that they have one of those. But they're obviously right now the best team in the division, but the Eagles are not far behind, and so they got to make sure that they keep as much distance as they can. Any games outside of the divisional game. So I think this game might be a little tighter than we realize. And with healthy Brian Robinson and Terry McLaurin, this team is and Zach Ertz, this team is nothing to sneeze at. So I think it's gonna be a tighter game. I actually would, you know what? I'll take the Commanders in this game if you take the Bears. I'll take the Commanders in
Absolutely.
this game, even with Mariota at home with the healthy everybody, except for Jaden Daniels. I think that they still have a
We lost you there, but Vegas agrees with you, Sean. Bears are 1.5-point favorites here. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a tight one. I will definitely take the Bears. If you take the Commanders here, it could be tight. It'll definitely be one that I'm watching. I think this is a late slate game. So overall should be pretty good, especially when compared to the other options on the late slate.
hey.
Panthers, Broncos. Wow, we're not even getting to your shitty team yet. Let's talk Panthers, Broncos. Really quickly, Bo Nix. Man, I know I joke a lot. He's doing just enough to get them wins. Broncos are 7-point favorites at home over the Panthers. And I looked at the schedule, and I'll do this right now as we kind of move our way into the Chiefs game. I have Bo Nix with more rushing yards than Patrick Mahomes has passing yards in the two games between the Broncos and the Chiefs this year.
I'll take that. I'll take that bet. Throw it in the chat. I'll take that bet.
Okay. So I will say one of the games is the last game of the year, and an undefeated Chiefs team might be resting Mahomes. That did factor into my decision. But I got Bo Nix with more rushing yards than Mahomes has passing yards in these two matchups.
I have no problem with that. If you had said combined yards, I might have taken. I might have changed it. But just rushing yards, yeah. Bo
Nix might have 72 passing yards across these two games.
True, but realistically, I mean, Bo Nix rushing yards, he's had less than 100 in any game. His most was 75 against New Orleans. So
I'm fine with doing this shot. It's really a bet on Mahomes not playing January 5th.
I know. But I think that, I think I'll take you on that. I think I'll take you on that one.
Yeah, that's all I have in this game. I don't care about this game.
I think honestly, I mean, realistically, Denver's defense was really, really the most impressive thing for me. In the last 5 games, Denver's
who starts for the Panthers?
Dalton.
Think it's Dalton still?
Gotta be Dalton. Just let Bryce Young watch. I'm not saying that Andy Dalton's any good, but just let him watch. Just have your first season, feel it out. Don't get him injured, and just kind of let the chip fall in. I will say this: my one caveat is the defense for the Broncos is their saving grace. It's been phenomenal all season. 100%. They gave up They had one game where they gave up 26 points. That's the most points they've given up all season. They've given up 13, 7, 9, 18, 23, and 10. If your defense holds teams to under 25 points, you have your best chance of winning any game. You hold them under 20 points, now we're talking here. We're talking top tier defense. So Broncos defense definitely a saving grace. Offense can score. We'll see how well the Panthers defense does against them. I expect the Broncos are going to win this game by 2 scores. But yeah, it'll be fun to watch. We'll see what happens with
Broncos
you. I got on my fantasy team.
The chubby hubby's solid. Broncos won me 33-point pool.
They did. So he's got some love. So he's been honestly, he's just been pumping up Bo Nick so much. Bo decided to return the favor.
Praise Bo. Super Bowl or bust, baby. Chiefs Raiders. You got anything on your Raiders? I'm not gonna do my Mahomes thing. I'm over it.
Raiders. If anything, I'm gonna say is that the Raiders have played the Chiefs as one of the Raiders have played the Chiefs the best that they've played any team realistically in that division. So I think that they have the best chance of catching the Chiefs sleeping and getting the win here than the other two teams. Actually, coming off, just realistically, coming off last game where the Chiefs snuck away really. I mean, the Raiders have a chance to catch them sleeping. That's about it.
Cowboys Niners. Blows my mind that this is Niners 5.5. I think it hit like 6. I bet it on every sports book that I'm on. The Cowboys are going to win this game. And it's going to give Cowboy Nation so much hope and so much excitement. And then they might not win another game all year. But they win this game on Sunday Night Football on the global stage in front of everybody. And the Cowboys are back and all that crap.
They have to win this.
These teams both suck. These teams both suck. And I think the Cowboys win this one.
The Cowboys have to win this game. It's not even that they win. They have to win this game. It's the only way that they're realistic to keep up in the division. B, the Niners are decimated at receiver right now. And if you're the Cowboys, that works to your advantage since you're also not good at your secondary is terrible right now. I'm going to go ahead and say that the Cowboys playing in San Fran definitely going to make this game a tighter game. But they have to win. They have to win this game. I'm not going to call it realistically. I think it's a toss-up for me. It really comes down to which quarterback wants it more. We already know the Cowboys have no rush offense. And so Dak's really going to have to put the team on his back. He's going to have to make some smart passes. He's going to have to move his feet. He's going to have to shift in the pocket because San Francisco's defense is going to fucking blitz him. So he's going to have to do what he needs to do. I mean, he's still playing against one of the better defenses in the NFL. And we just saw that in this past week. I mean, realistically, that defense is still one of the top 3 defenses in the NFL. Fred Warner's nothing to sneeze at, dude. Still one of the best linebackers, if not the best linebacker in football. But the Cowboys' offense can score, so they just need to make it happen against a soft second against a team that it can't really control the clock too much. They can pretty much only run the ball at this point and don't really have any receivers. Jawan Jennings is the best receiver at this point. So, I mean, he did have a game with like 150 receiving yards earlier this season.
He did.
So any given Sunday.
All right, you ready for this? You ready for this? The Bay Area is the home of the worst fans in all sports. Levi Stadium is so far in East San Jose that there is no home field advantage. It's so far off the coast that it's cold in the winter. 49ers fans are a joke. Bay Area fans give no home field advantage. The Cowboys are going to come in. They're going to score first. They're going to lead the entire game. They're going to win this. The Cowboy Nation is going to go crazy. And the Cowboys will finish the season worse than the 49ers.
You know what? I can't disagree with your storytelling right there. That sounds about as realistic as it can get. And if it actually happened, I owe you a shot.
All right. So to the game so cool, I forgot to put it on our note sheet. The New York Football Giants, as Boomer would say, and the new look Fighting Russes. Will, who on the Giants team is most likely to be the new future junior? Who is Russ going to call him daddy?
Well, if he keeps himself, if he can keep himself off the ground, and really just make the Giants D line look sad, um, which he can absolutely do because he still has the mobility to do so. It's gonna be a bad game for the Giants. They have to control the line. They have to make sure that they keep Russ contained and that they get him on his back because he obviously was feeling pretty good last week, even after a little bit of a slow start. Feeling pretty goddamn good. So, I mean, the Giants have to lock down Russ. If they can do that, then they win.
So, Sean, who is the best team in New Jersey? Is it the Jets, the Giants, or Rutgers?
Princeton. Oh my God. So, no, I will tell you right now that there is more success at Rutgers than there is for the Jets or the Giants. There's also a lot less drama.
The Steelers have a rare opportunity in back-to-back weeks to remind everyone why the Eastern time zone doesn't matter. They're going to beat both teams from New Jersey in back-to-back weeks with a quarterback raising other people's kids, which good for him. That's good. He's a good dad. It's cool. He is going to make the Jets and the Giants his other adopted sons. These teams from New York, New Jersey are such an embarrassment to the league that this dude who's been sitting on the bench doing God knows what, sometimes he's got shoulder pads on, sometimes he's wearing his helmet. Russ Wilson's weird. He's a weird dude.
Wins football game.
Russ Wilson's a weird dude. And he is going to, in consecutive weeks, make all the teams from New Jersey his bitch. He made Aaron Rodgers call him daddy. He's going to make.
Is it Daniel Jones or Tommy DeVito?
I'm just trying to think like who's the alpha on that team because it's not a quarterback.
There is alpha. Oh, it's
Michael Strahan. Michael Strahan might get on Monday morning. Or Good Morning America. He's gonna be like, Russell Wilson is my adoptive father.
They need Strahan back. Who they need
Pittsburgh
back is
-6.5, and
that's wild, bro.
God, dude, like to think they could cover scoring 19 points. This might be 19-6.
Yeah, that's realistic. 19-9, still covered.
Ooh, 19-9 is dirty. I like that.
Yeah.
Ooh,
honestly,
throw a safety in there. 19-11.
Wait. What if they covered 19-12? Giants with 4 field goals lose the game. Yeah, Giants with 4 field goals lose the game 19.
Yeah, they lose to the Steelers with 5 field goals and 2 safeties.
Hey, as long as TJ Watt's the one getting the safeties, I don't give a goddamn. All right, he's on my fantasy team, and I need a big week from him this week. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the Steelers in this game, and I watch the Giants try again. It's okay though because the Yankees are probably going to win the World Series. So,
gross.
Poison. I hate the Yankees, so it's much worse.
If you're a fan of an American League team, you're not a baseball fan. All there is to it for me.
Ooh, that's a bold statement. I will say this as a National League guy: Cubs ride or die, fly the W. Philadelphia, born and raised. I have so much more respect for the NL than the AL.
If growing up your favorite player was a DH, you're a loser. Unsubscribe from the channel. I don't even want your views. DH. No little league kid grew up. I want to be a DH.
Get out there is. There's plenty of them. You just didn't see a lot of. You must have seen a lot of fat kids playing baseball because that's all they wanted to do.
When I was growing up, you had to play both ways.
You do, which is why they play first base. They can't move.
Yeah, but that's a position. There's some DHs that don't even play positions. And now you don't have to.
Little League, nah. Little League's no DHs. I don't play in a league with no damn DHs. Little League baseball, if you're playing in a league with DHs, sit the hell down.
Yeah, you got too many McDonald's in your hometown. Get out of here. National League or bust. Dodgers in 5.
I hate the Dodgers too. They're just the Yankees of the NL. But whatever, Dodgers in 5. When I had to hate somebody.
I'm sorry, the New York baseball Dodgers.
Okay, all right. It was
This has
Brooklyn.
been yelling and screaming. Sean, give him your socials.
At KS Flash.
At King of Lakemore. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next week. Godspeed. Good luck on your bets. We'll see you.
See you guys. Take care.